What is going on, Washington fans? Welcome to the JTFB show. I am your host, Josh Taylor, contributor for Bleacher Report, covering all things Washington Commanders and around the NFL. And if you've been watching the NFL over the last few years, you know who I have joining me today. He is one of the most productive running backs since he entered the league in 2017, and he's one of the newest additions to the Washington Commanders. It is Austin Ekeler. Austin, man, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Finally getting some coverage now as a Washington Commander. That's new. It's been an adjustment, but looking forward to more.
Yeah, so I saw a post last week from the team. It looks like you've been in the air bubble in Ashburn. You've gotten some workouts in. What's just the overall first reaction and kind of impression being around some new teammates?
Yeah, it's a lot of new things going on with our team right now. From top down, new ownership, right? New coaches and a ton of new faces in the locker room, including myself. So it's been great because it's been a new slate. And so we have an opportunity to create the energy that we want to create as long as we have the people that are willing to do that and show up and bring that. And that's exactly what I've been doing. And I know other people around me have been doing it as well. I've heard a lot of conversations about the energy being a lot different than it used to be. So that's positive. I want to continue to contribute to that. I wasn't here, obviously, before. But what I do see is a lot of guys that are willing to, work together to put this thing in the direction that we're trying to go. And right now we're in off season. So that means working together, bringing energy, pushing each other during the off season, getting to know one another, and then also, learning the new offense and new defense. So it's been a great start, and we just got to keep it going.
It's definitely a lot, man. I feel for you. I think moving is one of the top 3 worst things ever. Like I told you, I moved from Virginia to Texas. I can't imagine going from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast. Hopefully, you had some help with that. The time change is the biggest thing that hits you.
Right.
Immediately is getting used to that. But it's good, knocking off that rust. You're getting some workouts in. I saw you working out with B-Rob. He's a big fan favorite. Everyone loves B-Rob. I'm an Alabama fan, so I was excited to have him. But just having a backfield with y'all too. But I want to talk about free agency for a little bit with you. Like I said, I want to talk about some on the field stuff. And then you do a lot off the field as well that I really want to hit home on as well, just so fans can get to know who Austin Ekeler is and what we're getting. But free agency, you go undrafted. You're this underdog mentality, under recruited. You show out, you sign with the Chargers, and then you hit free agency and you sign a deal back in 2020 that keeps you there for 4 years. But this is the first time ever in your career that you have on a whole new uniform. Like, has it really hit you yet? You're like, all right, I'm not in LA anymore. This is a completely new thing to me. And then just walk us through the process of free agency. Like, you're deciding where you want to go, like what's best for you, especially at this point in your career. Just what was your mindset like going through that whole process?
Yeah, it's definitely different out here. Right as soon as I got off the plane, it hit me that I'm not in LA. Clearly a whole different atmosphere. But really going into free agency, I really wanted to be in a place that really wanted me. And what I meant by that is I didn't want to be in a place where it's like, well, we could go with Austin. He's an okay pick. Now I want someone that's like, hey, we want you here. Like we're making an effort to do that, and we think you fit into our system, to our energy level. As far as you as a leader as well, we want you in for that. And Washington was the spot. And with my last relationship with the Chargers, it really seemed like they were wanting to go a different path. They're never going to tell you that. They always want to keep the door open, but they can give you some mixed, messages when they're saying different things, as far as, where they're trying to go, which is obviously right heavier. And we saw that play out with Gus Edwards going in there. And so they kind of expressed that to us by not expressing that to us. And so immediately I'm okay, let's find somewhere else. I don't want to be here because I don't want to be the second option for you. Like I want you to be excited about me being in the building, contributing what I can. Like we had a down year, absolutely. And they pretty much clean shop after a down year, and for me going into free agency was okay. Let's see what's out there on the market. There was a lot of different running backs moving all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And as I said, Washington was really the contender, the biggest contender for wanting me in the building. There's a couple others out there that were, positioning themselves as like, oh, it'd be nice to have Austin as far as the money that they were offering, things like that, but not like, okay, we want to put Austin in a position where he's going to be, a role player for us on this team. So that's where I'm at, and that's how I ended up out here. It came down to being in a crew that they obviously put the money where the mouth is with the contract, and also expressed just the excitement to have me on the team.
Yeah, and I heard you in your introductory press conference in Ashburn. You said like Washington showed that interest, and you kind of just hit home on that again. What were those conversations like? Like, was it like Adam Peters? Was it Quinn? Was it Cliff? Was it your old coach with Anthony Lynn? Like saying like, "Yo, I want Austin back here. Please give me Austin back here." And what was that conversation like?
Yeah, so there's not a lot that we can actually talk about during that time because we can't really talk football during that time. Like we're not in the building. There's a lot of rules. Free agency wasn't all the way open. I couldn't even sign a deal. You could talk deals at that moment, but you couldn't sign deals. So you couldn't talk football. But I have played with Anthony Lynn, who's the running back coach, and now the running game coordinator is here as well. And so I kind of know the mindset philosophy that he brings, and he's been with me obviously in the past. And I know just the respect that he has for me, and it goes both ways. And so when that was one of the teams that was interested in me, I was like, okay, I know exactly how they're positioning, wanting to position me with Brian Robinson as the, the bigger body, and then me as, the off type back as well, that like I had with Melvin Gordon and myself back for Anthony Lynn when he was my head coach. And so I knew where they were trying to position me at, and I can see it within the schemes we're putting in, how I can definitely have a role here in the offense.
I'm about to say it's obviously early in the process of like, we still got a draft. We still got some big time impact players coming. But it seems like, and this is something I kind of reiterated throughout free agency is, Adam Peters and Coach Quinn were really selective on who they wanted to come here. You could tell that they had a certain blueprint they wanted to put together, whether if it was like these young ascending players who are just ready for more of a role, but then also veteran players like yourself. I think we can call you a veteran. You've made your mark.
Running to year 8, so I would say so.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. It's a blessing to be in the league that long. So
Right.
I would definitely own it. But just like I said, these impact, veterans, like I said, Bobby Wagner and Ertz. What do you think like this team's identity is really going to be, this next season? Because us as fans, obviously, like you said, kind of like Chargers, we kind of clean shop. We're starting over. We got, like you said, we got a lot of new things going on. What can fans really expect, like identity wise, that you've kind of already seen, like in the building?
Yeah, there's not a lot of ego that I see. I love that, because what do you mean? What I mean by that? There's not a lot of guys that are like, look at me guys that I've seen where like, hey, they're selfish. They want to make sure they do it all themselves. And so I've been around these guys for, about a week. And it's been a lot of collaboration, a lot of, shit talking to each other. So I don't know if I can say that on here.
Oh, you're good.
But, okay. Just pushing each other in the right way, and people that are showing up like there's so many guys out here that are looking to work and in the weight room, pushing each other. And that's exactly what you want to see during the offseason. The identity, I think that starts to play itself out as you get into the actual season, just depending on how we're meshing together, what's our strength and all of that. But as far as the camaraderie, that's exactly where I would want it to be. And like I said, no egos, a lot of guys that have been some journeymen out there too. We brought in Marcus Mariota too, as he's playing quarterback over here. So it's like he's been all over the place, coming in with just a personality to, hey, let me lead these guys. Let me lead by example and run the team right now. We'll figure out what's going on with the quarterback situation here down the stretch. So a lot of guys that have been there, put in the work, and are looking forward for an opportunity to continue to express, how good of a player they are and make an impact.
Yeah, it's funny because you talk about quarterback. That's something I wanted to kind of ask you is, obviously there's a potential. I think it's, a pretty big potential that Washington will be selecting a quarterback in the draft. Coming from a situation where you have Justin Herbert, come in as a rookie, what as a running back can you do to really help out? Even if it's Marcus Mariota, whoever's going to be playing quarterback, especially as a rookie though, like what can you do as a running back, as, a new guy coming into the system, new to the team? I know even though you're new here, like I said, you've been around the league for a while. Like, what can you do to really help out a new quarterback, especially if it is a rookie?
Yeah, I think kind of what my game is built around, honestly, and that's make some plays when stuff breaks down, especially in the passing game. Obviously, in the running game, I want to make sure I'm keeping us in front of the sticks. But when we're throwing the ball, I'm always going to be there for you. And we saw that with Phillip Rivers. That's how I even made my, just my offensive impact in the very beginning, was with Phillip Rivers. This man could not run at all. So if he needed to check it down real quick, he wasn't running. He was looking for Austin, and I was catching, and I was making people miss. And when you have that safety blanket where it's like, okay, if nothing's going down the field, I don't need to force it. I can throw it to number 30 in the backfield, and he's going to make something happen, keep us moving forward. That makes for some good offense, and it also makes for a situation where, okay, things don't have to look good, because I know I can, if it's not there, I don't have to force it. I'm throwing it to 30. And, we saw that with Phillip. We saw that with me the last few years. 2 years ago, I caught 107 balls when we made our playoff run into the playoffs.
That's a Chargers record, isn't it?
Yeah, Chargers record right now. So I don't know if Keenan beat it last year. He only played, I think, like 14 games or so.
I don't know. Keenan's a stud. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it was me and Keenan. I took it from Keenan. He used to have it with 103. So that's what I can do to help. I can also, I got to protect this guy too. In the blitz pickups, I've been around protection schemes for a long time now. I'm going to be protecting for this guy. I got to make sure I'm running for this guy, and then also being available when we're in the passing game. So that's my job, and that's what I've done really well over the past, 7 years. So I'm a quarterback's best friend, I guess you could say, backfield buddy.
Yeah, no, I obviously the stats show it, but don't sleep on pass protection. I think that's one of the most underrated aspects for a running back. When you have like a safety or a linebacker running at you, like, all right, here we go. Like it's like those trench drills. Like, I'm gonna meet you in the middle here. But the fans would be absolutely upset if I didn't ask about Terry McLaurin, because he is obviously one of the fan favorites here. Have you had a chance to interact with Terry? What's your like the immediate reaction to Terry, just being around him and how he is? Because we know he's like one of the biggest leaders on this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've known Terry before, I got out here. Actually, we golfed together. And so Terry and I, go back a little bit. And what I've known about him and what I love about him is, yes, he's a star receiver, but he is not the stereotypical prima donna type, where he's got, like I said, a big ego and he thinks he's the man. Like he knows he's the guy, but he's not out wearing on his chest and thinking he's above, doing things the right way, like showing up on time, coming to lifts, things like that you tend to run into some of these guys that think they're it and know they wear it on their sleeve. And so when we have guys that are, playing at a really high level, but also showing up and doing all the work that's expected and not holding themselves above some standard that they artificially made up, then you got some good guys around you. And so I'm excited to be around Terry. He's one of those as well. Just a low, down to earth guy, ready to work, ready to grind, and looking forward to being out there on the field with him for sure.
Yeah, I think the team as a whole has a lot of unselfish guys between Terry, Jahan, like I said, B-Rob, a lot of guys that are coming back. But Terry's been one of those guys who's had like 20 quarterbacks since he's entered the league. He produces every single year. He catches everything you throw at him. I think Jahan's going to have a big year. I know, like I said, we still got to draft some people, but as a whole, you can't speak for the defense. But from the offense standpoint, like I said, adding that veteran as in Zach Ertz, what do you think so far of this offense? What can we kind of expect? Like I said, we still got to add some pieces, but what's just your first initial reaction?
Yeah, and just when it comes to even rookies too, when you're saying add some pieces, like you can definitely add some. There's some that might shine here and there, but it's tough to really add through the draft. Like these guys got to come through. Like, I mean, just think about it. Like, even if we have running backs that come in, it takes time. I've been playing for 8 years. I know the scheme. I know the blocking scheme. I know patterns. I know the terminology. And so you can still come in and make an impact. But a lot of these players, it takes a little bit of time to come in and actually develop where they're actually like a true, solidified starter in the league. So there's definitely anomalies every single year. But for the most part, your team's going to be a lot of, veterans that are on the team. And so that's what we have. We have guys that have been there, have played, have made runs, have won Super Bowls. So we have the chemistry and we have the know-how. We have that experience on the team. Now, can we put it together? That's the question. And it's not just the players. It's also the coaching, right? It's both. It's the play, but it's also the scheme. And that's what makes a team. And that's why this is such a great sport, because we get to have these combinations and see if they work every single year and get excited about the new combination that we brought in. And that's exactly what we have. I think a great example is last year with the Texans. They won 2 games the year before, two games, and then they made a playoff run. And I know, sure, they didn't win the Super Bowl, but if you're a Texans fan, you're feeling a lot better coming into this season than you were.
Stephon Diggs too.
And so they got another receiver over there. So I'm just saying that because you can have these seasons. Yeah, it's down, but hey, we have a new energy. We have a whole lot of news going on. And so now it's for us to come together and put it together and put something on the field that actually gives us a chance to go out there and win some games that we can get in the playoffs. And then you start talking about, what comes after that.
So, I mean, so you're saying anything's possible, which gets me excited.
I'm saying we have a chance.
Yeah, that's all you need. That's all you need is a chance. Look, you have OTAs coming up, minicamp coming up. I'm excited, man. I'm definitely going to try to get back to Virginia to cover some of that. But like I said, I want to talk about some off the field stuff as well. Whether it's streaming, you have one of my favorite shows with Ekeler's Edge. Shout out to Matt Harmon, by the way, another Virginia guy. Gotta shout out Virginia anytime I can. Great show. I'm not the biggest fantasy guy, as you see at the bottom there. I have a partnership with Underdog Fantasy. I can hit some over unders, but don't ask me who you should start next week, because I'm like, I don't know. Ask Austin. Like, that's the guy.
Me. Here's why I like fantasy. I like fantasy because it brings the non-fans of a team, and then you can also be a fan of a player, right? So you might not have been a Chargers fan. You might not be a Commanders fan, but you might know who Austin is because I'm on your fantasy team. Yeah. So that's where I love that it gives fans a direct connection to individual players. And I think that's amazing because there's a lot of great individual players out there that I think, have really entertaining. And if you have them on your fantasy team, you know that as well. So I love that aspect of it.
I try to play. I can't say I've won a league ever in the last 5 or 6 years I've done it, but I'm still trying. But like I said, I can hit some over under parlays absolutely out here in Texas. We can only do so much betting. But you talked about connection, and I was trying to see some other things that you've done off the field. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Austin Ekeler Foundation, but the experience where you link fans to players around the league. That's what excites me, because when I'm at training camp, when I was a fan growing up, I wanted to connect with the players. I wanted to talk to, just like we are right now. I'm still a fan of this team. I cover the team, but I love this team since I was born. Talk a little bit about that experience and how fans, whether it's Washington, whoever, can really get joined in on that and connecting. And is that something you plan on doing with other Washington players as well?
Oh, yeah. So for those of you that don't know, I have an app called Experience, and really the gap that it was trying to fill, or that it is filling, is I feel like there's a disconnect between being able to interact with fans on a safe basis that's in moderation, because after the games, everyone's going crazy. Training camp, it's like, that's not moderation for us. Like, we got to organize this so it's actually worth the time for each of us to actually go and do this interaction. So we have a bunch of different types of interactions, and it's spelled like my last name, by the way. It's EK. So Experience, EKSPERIENCE. So check us out, experience.io. But really what we're trying to do is continue to give access to players. And so I have actually made a pivot with Experience about 8 months ago, where we're making it even better. And we're making it basically based off a story. So if we have an upcoming game, or let's say we're in OTAs and you want to talk to me or ask me about my transition, or tell me about, your favorite moment with me at the Chargers, or maybe even jump on a video chat to introduce yourself. If you're a Commanders fan and want to say what's up to me, you'll have that opportunity through Experience. And so it's a way for us, like I said, as athletes, to really organize it. And the best part about it is, as an athlete, I don't have to set anything up. The new pivot, it's all set up by my administrator, and so they take all the heavy lifting off of me. So I just get a notification, I jump on there, I fulfill, I do the interaction with you, and I'm on to the next thing. So efficient and effective. So that's experience.io if you want to check it out.
So it's like a better next level Cameo. Like it's more interactive. It's not just like, hey, send me a video. It's my grandma's birthday.
Yeah, so it's not just like, it's all they're all around themes. Like the theme, it's not like I guess Cameo kind of is too, where it's like birthdays and stuff like that. But this is
different though.
This stays relevant throughout the entire year, so to speak. So if we go out there and crush it, you'll be able to send me a victory message, or a hype message, or talk about the play that happened. And so it's all valued on what's happening. What's happening? What's this? If we get out there, we get crushed. It's like, hey, send me some words of encouragement. You can be like, awesome. Hey, keep your head up, man. You guys played hard. You can send me that, and I would send you a video back. Man, I appreciate it, man. I know it sucks. Hey, part of the NFL. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. We got to get better and bounce back. Boom, I send it out, and we can have that little interaction. And it's small little nuggets, but that's something that you can always hang on to. So Experience, it's what it's about. Another little nugget that I had that with Experience, it was getting things signed. So Sign My Stuff was actually our second most popular experience from Experience 1.0 before Pivot. And you could send in your jersey, you could send in a card, you could send in anything, and it would get sent to me. And I was basically my own fulfillment. I was running fulfillment out of my garage, and nice. I'm sending out jerseys to hockey players and myself. But yeah, to get these things signed, and then basically it ends up back at your door signed by that player. So Sign My Stuff's another offering that we have. It's not in the newest version, and we're still in alpha right now. So give me a couple months. By the time you see this, It'll be out but before season, I'll definitely be on there.
No, I'm going to drop the links in the description of the video. So I got you covered there. But I love that because it's funny because, like I said, I go to training camp and stuff, and I have, like, they sign afterwards and everything. But there's so many people, like, out of state, like, Josh, like, get something for me, man. I'm like, dude, I'll try. Like, I can only fit so much in my duffel bag, but, like, I got you. So it's good knowing that there's an outlet for that.
Yeah.
But then also, like I said, I just want to kind of talk lastly about the Austin Ekeler Foundation, because in my opinion, I think this is the biggest thing that you do. It's not just, you know, the impact on the field, but it's changing communities. And obviously you're out there in LA. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of big areas. You move here. What's the plans? And I guess just tell people, like, your goals and what you really fulfill with the Austin Ekeler Foundation.
Yeah. So I started a foundation about 4 years ago now, maybe 5. And really what I wanted to do was put tangible resources, things you could touch, things you could use for not just a one-time use, but for generations, those types of resources back into the community. And so I'm talking washers and dryers, I'm talking football equipment, I'm talking weight rooms, like those types of projects are the projects that we put together with the Austin Ekeler Foundation, and things that I felt like were basic necessities, like access to washers and dryers. There was Watts, California. There was a community that really has a lot of low income housing individuals there. And so they're living in their cars or in, you know, the assisted living with, you know, the low income housing. And there's not washers and dryers in these. So now they can do their wash their clothes at school. And like the number 2 reason why people weren't coming to school was because of not having clean clothes. And so things like that we're continuing to go and find those types of gaps and really just plug in some type of resource to make sure that those individuals have that opportunity that seems normal just as a basic need of living, and making sure that they have access to those in some capacity. So that's what we do with the Austin Ekeler Foundation. We actually rebranded it to the Ekeler Foundation as well, if you want to look it up. Yes.
So I know you still got to change the colors now that you're out here in Washington. We're going to give you some time. So it's
so the colors are blue and green. So they're not around with the rebrand. All
right, cool. Yes. That's fine. We'll let it slide. Like I said, I'll drop the description and some links below. People can whether it's donate or get involved anyway. I'm sure you have a lot of upcoming plans for, you know, the DMV area now that you're out here. Some things coming up. Also, I know that you usually give away 2 signed jerseys every week. Is that something we're going to get this season coming up?
Yeah, man. Well? I got a ton of stuff going on. So I have a website beginning built out called austinekeler.com. If you want to see all of the stuff I have going on, you go there, because I have giveaways during the season, the fantasy show, experience, foundation. You know, there's a lot going on, and it's not just me. I have several teams that help me put on all these things. Like we opened this up. I've been playing for 8 years, so I've been building a lot. I'm a builder. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an athlete. I've been building for a long time. So if you really want to get an insight, austinekeler.com is where to go. It's not even live yet, so I know I'm getting on it. In about a month, it'll be live. Dang it!
He hasn't even unpacked everything. The website.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in the hotel right now, man. I just gotta get a spot first too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Austin, like I said, man, I'm not gonna keep you long. I'm sure you got a lot going on, but definitely looking forward to getting back in Ashburn senior practice, man. Good luck to you. And like I said, good luck this season. Hopefully do some big things. And like you said, anything's possible in Washington this year.
Anything is possible, man, as long as you continue, to put your best foot forward. Know the sky is the limit. There's definitely, things that have to play themselves out. But guess what? If you don't put your best foot forward, you're never going to find out how far you could have gone. So that's what we're going to do. And that's what I am going to be putting energy to, not only do that for myself, but hopefully push the people around me. And so I appreciate you helping me express my story and myself to everyone in the DMV area.
Awesome, man. Definitely, like I said, you're one of my favorite follows on social media with your videos and motivational stuff. Gets me going. Some days I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to go to the gym. Then I see you lifting 200-pound dumbbells. I'm like, all right, I need to go.
Get in there, man. Compounding interest. We got to compound, right? If you miss a day, you lost that day. Now you're behind. So you got to stay on it. At consistency. To all you out there, continue to push yourself forward, even if it's a little bit at a time, right? Hey, it's awesome. At least something. Compound that interest.
Words of motivation from Austin Ekeler. Thanks, man. Definitely looking forward to, like I said, hopefully linking up some more throughout the season. And good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. See ya.
See ya.